I can remember when Princess Di was to marry Prince Charles, and just the whole country was so mesmerized by the fact of a royal wedding, which personally I had never witnessed. And I can remember us planning the day to make sure we were going to be by the TV and to just watch how beautiful in the cathedral the royal wedding would be. And she looked beautiful, the gown, the procession, it was probably a whole afternoon. And just very excited, and a point in time that didn't know if I'd ever witness again. And then I can also remember even more how tragic when the day we found out that she had died in the tragic accident. I can remember the birth of the children, and you watch them grow on TV and reading in the news. And I actually remember we were at a baptism in Connecticut in church that day at a friend's baby when someone just turned in the pew and said, Princess Di, she was dead. And it was just, we were so heartfelt and actually brought tears that day. It was kind of an end of an era and just something that you don't want to experience in a lifetime, but it really is something you don't forget. And it is part of history. And then, of course, just as you watched the wedding, you watched all the news event of the death and the funeral and just the sad and the grieving of a nation of Britain and how they had to experience that loss. So, many happy memories of her, and of course, all the coverage of her through the scandals of the divorce and relationships and then, of course, ending in such a sad way.
All encompassing. That's all you saw in the newspapers and all the celebrity channels and everybody. That's all they talked about. What dress was she going to wear? The details were in the paper for months before and months after.
Who was going to come to the wedding? I mean, it was thousands of people that were invited, and I just remember the shot that was taken, I guess it was in Westminster Abbey, from the balcony of her walking down the aisle, and her train, it seemed like, went on forever. It was like 20 or 30 feet long, and all the attendants behind her, and it was a real life fairy tale.
It was.
I think everybody just felt so sorry for Princess Diana, that she seemed so sad and like such a victim, and there was so much talk about, I guess she had some issues with bulimia and anorexia, and just seemed like she was so insecure in her role as a member of the royal family that you couldn't help but have your heart bleed for her a little bit.
She was hurting and insecure and never had anybody reinforce her at that point in her life, which was really sad.
I just remember it being so stunning that hearing, first of all, that Diana had died because she was young and vibrant and everybody loved her, but then as the days went on and we learned that she was actually being chased by the media that hounded her, and she was so, she seemed to be terrified of to begin with, but then to know that they were chasing her through this tunnel and ultimately really caused her death, I think it just made her seem, so vulnerable.
I think too that the days leading up to that, after her divorce from Charles and everything else, she had zero private life. I mean, she didn't have any private life before that, but it got worse because the scrutiny got worse. They all wanted to know what she was doing after her divorce. She had no private life whatsoever, and she couldn't even be on the beach with her kids without the paparazzi being
Camera
there.
in her face, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No private life whatsoever.
There's no way to live.
Right. So even in the last moments of her life, when they show her leaving that hotel, you could see the reluctance, on camera, that she was so upset about what was going on, and that was moments before she was killed. That was terrible.